Now, lift your heels up, keeping your toes on the ground, then lower them slowly. Repeat this for a minute. I'll try this every morning, maybe while drinking tea. I used to think aging was a matter of years, until I saw Peter, a 70-year-old man who looks younger than 50-year-olds simply because he knows how to use his body properly. I am Dr. Noah Jupe, a London-based physiotherapist, has spent more than 20 years working with patients, over 60 people who are trying to hold on to the most precious thing that age can easily take away: ability to move freely. I still remember that morning very clearly when Mr. Peter Caldwell, 72, walked into my clinic in South Kensington. He looked healthy, his face rosy, but his steps were slow and labored. "I walk every day, Noah," he said, "but my legs are still swollen, my ankles are stiff, and I feel tired even when I climb stairs." "How long do you walk?" I asked. "Almost an hour, sometimes more," he replied proudly. I nodded, then said softly, "And that's the problem." "And Flane?" He was surprised. "Problem? I thought walking was the best way to stay in shape at this age." I smiled. "Walking is good, but not enough. It helps the heart work, but it neglects the body's second heart, the soleus muscle in the calf. The soleus is a muscle deep in the calf that pumps blood back to the heart when we flex our legs or stand on our toes," I explained. "But when we sit for too long, stand still for too long, or even walk lightly, this muscle weakens. Blood then pools in the legs, causing swelling, numbness, and making the heart work harder." Peter fell silent, then looked down at his feet where the thin blue veins were beginning to show. I said, "The good news is that you can reactivate your soleus muscles with a little exercise, right at home, even while watching TV." He laughed. "Really? That sounds like magic," I replied. "No magic, just the science of movement." I sat him down in a chair and told him to put his feet flat on the floor. "Now, lift your heels up, keeping your toes on the ground, then lower them slowly. Repeat this for a minute." He did so slowly, his eyes on his feet as if discovering something new. "I can feel my calves warming up," he said. I nodded. "That's right. The soleus muscles are working, pushing the blood back up to the heart. Every time you do this, you're giving your heart a little break." "Is this tests?" I told him about a recent study in Oxford that found that just 15 minutes of daily exercise of the soleus muscles could increase blood flow back to the heart by 50%. That means less swelling, less fatigue, and a more efficient circulatory system, I said. More importantly, it helps you avoid the heavy legs, tired heart condition that many older people suffer from without even knowing why. Peter looked at me, his eyes filled with curiosity. "So, just a small movement can change the health of the whole body?" I smiled. "Yes, because the body is a unified system. When the blood circulates better, the heart is stronger. The brain receives more oxygen. You will feel more alert, light, and flexible. That is why I say this exercise is more effective than walking." Before leaving, Peter said, "I'll try this every morning, maybe while drinking tea." I replied, "Great, make it a habit, and in a few weeks you'll see how different your body feels." Watching him walk out of the room, I thought of hundreds of other patients, people who believe that just walking is enough. But the human body is more complex than that. Every part has its own role, and sometimes true power lies in the smallest movements. If you want to learn more about how to regain your strength after 60, follow, comment, and subscribe. And if you really want to start this journey, leave comment number 1. I will know that you are ready to awaken your second heart. A week later, Peter returned to my office with a different smile. He sat down and said, "I've been doing your exercises every morning with my tea. At first it was just a few minutes, but now I can do it for 15 minutes without feeling tired. And the strange thing is, my feet feel less heavy and my shoes are much easier to put on." I nodded happily. "That's a great sign, Peter. Your soleus muscles are working again, and the blood flow has started to be more efficient." I explained to him more about how the body is changing. When the soleus muscle contracts rhythmically, it pushes blood from the leg veins to the heart. In older people, the vein valves tend to be weaker, so blood can pool in the legs, causing swelling, heaviness, and even night cramps. But when we exercise properly, the soleus muscle takes over, acting as an auxiliary pump for the heart. Peter listened attentively, his eyes lighting up. "So with just a few simple movements, I am reducing the burden on my heart?" I nodded. Exactly. Not only that, this exercise also helps stabilize blood pressure, reduce the risk of leg swelling, and improve oxygen exchange function. Because when blood flow is evenly pumped, muscle tissue will receive enough nutrients and recover better. And I tell you more about my case. Mrs. Linda Barnes, 68, a former patient of mine. She used to suffer from swollen and numb feet after standing in the kitchen for long periods of time. When I taught her this exercise, after just 3 weeks, she was able to stand and teach a whole class without feeling heavy in her legs. She said, "I didn't think just sitting in a chair and lifting your heels would be enough to make you feel so relieved." Peter laughed. "That sounds like me." And hardest hands. I looked at him and said, "Peter, this is why many people think walking is enough, because it makes you feel like you're moving. But walking mainly activates the thighs and hips, and it doesn't wake up the soleus muscles enough to create a pumping effect. The soleus muscles only really work when you do a controlled heel-toe movement." He nodded, then asked, "How much exercise should I do?" I replied, "It's best to break it up into small chunks throughout the day. 5 minutes at a time, 3 or 4 times. You can do it while reading the newspaper, watching TV, or talking on the phone. Even just remembering to lift your heels a few times while sitting in a coffee shop can help." Then I had him try a more advanced version. Instead of just lifting his heels while sitting, he stood up and leaned lightly against the wall. "Now lift your heels off the floor, hold for a few seconds, then lower them very slowly." He tried it, shaking slightly, but maintaining his balance. "That's great," I said. "When you stand up like that, your body weight puts more pressure on your soleus muscles, making them work harder. This is how we build calf strength without weights or machines." After a few rounds, Peter said, "I feel warm blood running down my legs." I replied, "Yes. That's what your body should have done long ago. It just forgot. We're just helping it remember." This was like a gesture in a seeing the replied him. Before leaving, I reminded him, the most important thing is consistency. Not too much, just persistence. The soleus muscle is like a small engine in a big machine. If it works every day, the whole system will be smooth. Peter smiled, put on his coat, and said, "I will practice until these feet surprise you." As he left, I watched him through the misted window. A 72-year-old man, walking easily, without a cane, relying on small, steady movements. It occurred to me, perhaps true strength lies not in big muscles, but in the patience of those who refuse to surrender to age. And that's what makes me believe that anyone, no matter their age, can regain their strength if they start today. In the next section, I'll share with you how to combine your soleus exercises with other simple habits to double the effectiveness, get your blood flowing, reduce leg fatigue, and improve your cardiovascular health. Please follow, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And if you really want to start this journey, leave comment number 1. The next week, Peter returned to the clinic, looking so excited I had to laugh. "Noah, I think you'd be proud of me," he said, his voice full of energy. "I've been working out twice a day. And this morning, for the first time in years, I climbed 3 flights of stairs without stopping." I smiled and shook his hand. "I believe so. But that's just the beginning. When the soleus muscles are working well, the body begins to metabolize energy more efficiently, and the heart takes its share of the burden." I gestured for him to sit down and opened a diagram of the circulatory system. "Look, Peter, every time the soleus muscles contract, venous blood is pushed back up. But not only the blood, but also the lymph fluid, which helps the body eliminate toxins, moves along. That's why many people feel lighter after a few weeks of practice. It is manerating to the raw." Peter listened intently. "So I'm not just helping my feet, I'm also cleaning my body from the inside?" I nodded. "Exactly. With better blood circulation, more oxygen reaches the brain. A study in Cambridge even showed that regular activation of the soleus muscle improves concentration and reduces mental fatigue in older adults." I stood up and continued, "Now, I want to show you a simple way to double the effect." I handed him a small soft ball. "Place it under your feet and roll it slowly from heel to toe. As you do this, you are stimulating the sensory receptors in your feet, helping your brain control your balance more accurately. Your nervous system will relearn how to react when you lose stability, reducing your risk of falling." He tried it, rolling the ball and laughing. It feels like I'm giving myself a massage. Yes, I replied. It's especially good in the evening. When the legs tend to accumulate fluid, it helps to end the day with relaxation and restore circulation. After a few minutes, I showed him another variation. While you're standing watching TV, try standing on your toes while taking deep breaths. When you inhale, lift your heels. When you exhale, lower them. Each deep breath causes your diaphragm to contract, helping to pump blood back to your heart. The combination of your soleus and diaphragm creates a double effect. Your heart doesn't need to beat as fast, but your blood still flows strongly. Peter tried it, closing his eyes and breathing evenly. I feel like I'm getting younger, he said, his voice light as air. I smiled. That's the feeling of a properly nourished body. Let me tell you about another patient, Mr. David Spencer, 75, who had suffered from chronic numbness in his feet due to poor circulation. After 8 weeks of practicing his soleus muscles and deep breathing every morning, his blood pressure was more stable. He slept better, and his feet were no longer swollen. The interesting thing, I said, is that he said he no longer felt old. Not because his muscles had grown bigger, but because his body was starting to listen to him again. Peter looked at me, his eyes shining. I know how it feels, he said. Every morning I get up early, sit by the window, put my heels up, and breathe. I feel my blood warm, as if my heart is smiling. I laughed. That is when the body and mind become one. You are not only exercising your muscles, but also teaching your heart to slow down and become stronger. Before he left, I told him, keep doing it every day. Don't think of it as just a leg exercise. It's an exercise for longevity. Because when the blood circulates naturally, the heart doesn't have to work too hard. The brain gets enough oxygen, and old age becomes much easier. As Peter walked out the door, I watched him, feeling proud. Not only because he was feeling better, but because he had regained his faith that age does not determine vitality. Daily habits are what create true youth. And in the next part, I'll tell you about how Peter made that little exercise a part of his life and the amazing results he achieved after just 3 months of consistent practice. Please follow, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And if you really want to start this journey, leave comment number 1. 3 months later, Peter returned to the clinic, his posture so straight and his eyes so bright that I could tell at once that he had changed completely. Noah, he said, I just walked around Hyde Park Lake for over an hour without feeling tired. Helen said I looked 10 years younger. I laughed. I believe it. You're proving that strength never goes away. It just needs to be reawakened. He said that now every morning, while waiting for the kettle to boil, he does the heel lift and deep breathing exercises. While watching TV, he rolls a small ball under his feet. These seemingly small things have now become a part of his life. I said, it is the regularity that changes the body. His soleus muscles are now like an auxiliary blood pump for his heart, helping blood circulate better, reducing swelling, and keeping blood pressure stable. Peter nodded. I noticed that my legs were no longer heavy at night, and my sleep was deeper. I woke up without feeling as tired as before. I explained, when blood circulation improves, the autonomic nervous system also rebalances. The heart and brain are supplied with enough oxygen so the body can relax and recover more easily. I told him about a study in Cambridge where people over 65 did 10 minutes of soleus exercises a day. After 8 weeks, most of them had improved circulation and better sleep. Peter laughed. So I'm not alone, I replied. No, but you're a living example that age can't beat willpower. We sat in silence for a few seconds, watching the rain fall outside the London window. I said, Peter, what makes me happiest is not your strong legs, but your confident eyes. When people feel in control of their bodies, they also regain their faith in life. He nodded. That's right. Before, I was afraid of falling, but now I get up early, walk, and say hello to my neighbors. I feel free. Before leaving, he joked, Helen asked me to spend more time on her exercises. I laughed. Then teach her to exercise with me. That is the secret to maintaining love and health. This Absalom Tuderbaum. Peter left, but the image of him lingered in my mind for a long time. A man who once walked slowly, fearfully climbing stairs, could now confidently walk the cobblestone streets of London, which to me was a great testament to the power of perseverance. A week later, I received an email from him. Peter included a photo of himself standing in front of a lake, holding a cup of coffee, smiling brightly. The note simply read, "Thank you, Noah. I have my legs back and my joy of life." I sat looking at the photo for a long time, a warm feeling spreading through my chest. To me, there is no reward more precious than that. I often tell my patients that health is not a destination, but a journey. Every step on tiptoe, every deep breath, is a message to the body that you are still here, still alive. And it is these seemingly small things that are the foundation for a strong, free, and energetic life. If you're reading this, start today, just one small move, 1 minute, but it's the first step on your journey to reclaiming your true power.